Hey guys, this is Clyde Cadell, and this is the first video in a series where I like to talk about different trophies that are difficult to achieve, that sets like a guide, sort of Clyde's Guides, where we talk about how to get a hold of these hard trophies from, starting from the bare minimum. In the background I have, this is Dragon Ball Fighter Z, looking at getting my power level is 530,000 trophy, where you have to get 530,000 power level on your battle power, which is basically code for your ranked match status, where you play ranked matches online, build up power, lose it if you lose. So the goal is to get to a pretty formidable number of 530,000, where you're at the beginning 200,000. There's some pretty simple fights, but it does start getting difficult in the 300,000 and 400,000s, and even just getting your way from 500,000 to 530,000 is in itself a whole trek. And in this game, they use. I just like to take a minute. I'm watching this video in the background as I'm doing it, and it's just painful to watch. But this is when I first started learning the game, and I mean, if you know what's going on, there's just basically spamming auto combos against the computer, just trying to feel out the physics of the game, basically. Raw level 1s and 3s, nothing all that special going on. But what I want to do is make this guide available to everyone. So at the beginning of the first few videos, we're looking at doing just the bare minimum learning. If you're just a person who knows how to auto combo and you're not even that into fighting games, this first video will be very good to show you the basic things I learned right before I went into online play for the first time, and then I'll show my first online match. Now, and then I'll discuss the differences between right now. Like, as I said, if you see, I'm barely using any of my movement options. I'm just trying to get in close and do an auto combo. In fact, I do it so much that Shenron is summoned here in my rapidly losing battle. And actually pretty funny, Yamcha succeeds in reviving Tien and then dies, and then it's all up to Tien and his little health bar. It's pretty funny. But honestly, not even that important. It's just basic. Look at me hopping around like an idiot, not knowing what to do. Raw level 3. I'm the man. But once I get towards the first online match, I'll talk about what changed, and you'll see in the second and third video of me still fighting people online. At least there's computer rather. At least there's basic improvements. Like here, I'm just taking advantage of Yamcha's Wolfang fish. Yes, the Wolfang fish, which flops around like Magikarp. He would be the Magikarp, actually, wouldn't he? But there's no Gyarados here. What if he actually becomes Brawly? That would be pretty intense, because that seems like a Gyarados type Brawly, or like an Onix. But anyhow, way off topic there. The Wolfang Fist, which thankfully I had to really concentrate to say correctly, but hooray for me. Goes to either side, so I was just taking advantage of that to break the computer's chain. And then here, last ditch effort, I have 7 power bars, no health. I'm Tien, no sparking. Let's do this. And it's just, I mean, if you think about it, if this was like in storyline, Tien doing this to stop both Goku Super Saiyan and Goku Blue would be a pretty epic thing to watch. But here it's just a ridiculous display of raw level 1s. But so this video is, even if you're at that kind of level where you're just throwing out crap, I'll show you exactly what I worked on and what it did for my game overall. And then some of the later videos will talk about where I split away from things like bread and butter combos, which are basically just simplistic combos that look flashy enough and do enough hits and do good, decent damage, but they really are your basic starter set for all the other combos. But towards the end of this video, you'll see when I start using them, because I insisted on knowing how to at least do them somewhat before I started playing online. And while I fumbled them a little bit in the last clip here, it's definitely something you could see I've been practicing. And the best way I could say to do it is exactly what I'm doing right here. If you'll notice, I'm now using the Super Dash, which granted a little too much, but at the beginning it gives you a good handle, especially if you're fighting the computer. And you learn to do kind of chains in the air. But play online. and just keep pushing. Play offline rather, and keep pushing where you're just doing the basic combos. Learn to do basic chains. Like here I'm chaining a level 1 just to see, and like even right now my instinct is, why didn't he throw out Krellin or Tien? Well, Tien because Krellin needs health, but just to chain onto that, you know, but I really didn't understand how to do all that yet. So I was doing raw level 3s, very basic chains, and eating a whole bunch of level 1s while I'm still learning the movement options. But I kept playing these these offline matches. Excuse me, I will get the hang of that one day. This is my first video, so bear with me on all this, I should say. I'm sure it's shown by the quality, but I figure right now I just want to put some things out and start playing around with the format. So this is beginner for both Dragon Ball Fighter and for me doing these videos. In the future, I have a couple of other videos for specific trophies that I want to focus on. That I have a lot of footage for, and one of those would be the Metal Slug Anthology. If anyone randomly likes Metal Slug, let me know in the comments. I'm working on. I've already done the achievement. I have the videos, but now the monumental task of editing them all and adding commentary to make a guide to do all the in 5 continues or less trophies that are necessary for the platinum, which is kind of one of my things. Love getting platinum trophies, and still working on the Platinum Trophy for Dragon Ball FighterZ, but I at least have the 530,000 trophy. And I've been a pink square, mostly orange, but back and forth between pink-orange. And I've gone from basically nothing, as you've seen in these videos, to actually having a grasp of how to fight and playing at a much more competitive level. It was a lot of progress it took, and it was a lot of work, a lot of training sessions. I have a couple of clips of some training sessions that I'll throw in later on just to show what I focused on, what I did, and then show more of these videos afterwards that just showcases what it did, if it paid off or not. Sometimes it didn't, sometimes it didn't add very much. Some things that I learned definitely bumped the playing field very high. So you can watch the rest of these videos, and towards the end I'll jump back in and talk about what bread and butter techniques I used, and we'll go from there.
Brace yourself for the coming battle! Are you ready?
This is absolutely canon, by the way. Krillin completely destroys Boo and saves the universe. So as you can see, I started moving away from just spamming auto combo to trying to experiment with some of the other attacks. Looking at the invincibility frames of level 3s and such. But here we're going to cut forward a month or two. I didn't have a lot of access to the game, so I finally started experimenting, and this was my first online match. Here, I had a completely different team than what I started out with, and it's funny, a lot of them ended up being on later teams as well. But this was a solid team to begin with. Here, I'm still not doing anything great, but I've at least learned the air series, where I just, down heavy and launches you into the air. You follow up with a light, medium, down heavy, and then light, medium, hard, and heavy, and it brings you back into the ground. Here I use it a lot, and I also there's another variant that I've learned really only with Gohan, where you do crouching medium, slide into standing medium, and then jump, cancel into light, medium, light, down, heavy for a launch and follow up. But all I did was practice those moves over and over again, fighting against the computer in single player, until I felt very comfortable with the level of muscle memory that I had for it, which granted wasn't much, but I felt I could at least start bringing it into play and learning against real people. And I'm mostly relying on my reaction times to try to just blast through with no real finesse at this point, and it only gets you so far, of course. I actually dropped Vegeta very quickly in the beginning here because of the down light in the air. The little spike always broke my air combos, so I thought he was worthless, but he's on my team currently, so it's pretty funny, and he helped me get to pink. Makes me laugh. Gohan here, I'm still experimenting with, but at this point he's my most solid character, and this is in the early stages still, like when Bardock just got released, just for a time frame. As I said in the early release, I didn't get a chance to play, so this is like maybe April, I suppose. And see, now I've got a basic air combo, but I still don't have anything good to follow up with. I'm getting lucky here with a few strikes. But literally that's all I did, was just practice doing a bread and butter combo, and the bread and butter combo will get you somewhat far in the very beginning when you're very low rank. Here, I nearly die, and then still learning all the mechanics, and Bardock's thrashing on me, of course. But I've at least, I've learned to use Dragon Rushes, Super Dashes, and such. And that's all I did, was just repeating it in offline play, and then coming in here and realizing that down heavy beats Super Dashes, which makes life so much more simple. And even there, that was ridiculously stupid to dash forward and then do a non-invincible level 1, that usually gets stuffed. Boom! But honestly, that's all I did, and I practiced, and practiced, and practiced. Once you get to the stage where you feel comfortable doing a basic bread and butter combo, bring it into online and try it out a few times and see what you do. Don't be discouraged by any losses, and be very happy with any wins you get. This has been Clyde Cadell. If you enjoyed the video, please leave me a like, a subscribe, and just help me get this thing going. I'll have the next video showing some more stuff I did a little later on coming very soon. Thank you. Take it easy.